Greetings. Welcome to week 12 of our analytical writing course on medicine and literature. I just have a few quick announcements to go over with you for this week. Basically, your assignment, instead of reading something for this week, your assignment is to basically watch a film that has something to do with the theme of medicine. I'm leaving it open-ended, but again, last week I posted some recommendations here. These are also, if you go to our week 12 of our course in the course content area, I have a list of films that you might want to choose from. Um, One thing I forgot to mention here is that Dallas Buyers Club, the review I wanted you to read for last week, that movie is actually on Netflix as well. I just noticed last night. So if anybody wants to watch that and do their review on that, that would be a good option, I think. But yeah, looking over this, you have two discussion posts due this week. They're both going to be due on Wednesday. The first is I'm just asking you to summarize your film. Again, I asked you to do this last week with kind of any film of your choice, but this week I want you to watch the movie that you're going to write about and then try to summarize it. And again, try to keep it concise. Try to introduce all of the main characters' names and the actors and actresses who play them. Again, please consult imdb.com if you need to look any information up here. Please also yeah, I guess you have an option. I do say here, please remember to reply to two classmates' discussion posts by Friday at midnight. Try to provide helpful feedback about whether the film summary makes sense or not. And I say that for each of these discussion posts, but let me clarify here that you can reply to, like, if you want to do two responses to the film summary portion, you can do that. You can reply to one film summary and then one outline if you'd prefer to do that, or you can reply to two outline discussion posts if you'd like to do that. So however you want to break it up. But again, I'd encourage you to try to offer some positive feedback as well as some kind of something more constructive. I think a lot of the comments I saw last week from students tended to be more kind of positive, good job type of things. But I also want you to try to push the point of giving feedback is so that the author can kind of take it and use it in some way. So please try to be constructive in whatever comments that you give. The second discussion post, also due on Wednesday, is basically an outline of how you want to break down your review. And again, you'll notice the summary. I'm asking you to kind of summarize the film early on in your review, and that's basically what you're doing up here. So that's good. But the other thing I want you to just pay attention to is that I'm asking you to kind of focus your paragraph topic sentences on specific things. So first, I want you to think about counter arguments. If you're saying that this movie is amazing and that it's a really good movie, what are some possible reasons that somebody might not like it, or what are some of the flaws that you were able to kind of pick up on? Because again, the more well-rounded your review can be, the more credible you're gonna seem to your reader, and that's kind of your job as a reviewer. I also think you should try to offer a claim about the genre of the film. Like, by that I just mean, if this is like a medical drama, how does it compare to other medical dramas that you've seen? Or if it's a thriller, how does it compare to other thrillers that you've seen? Or if it's a romantic comedy, how does it stack up against other romantic comedies? I also would encourage you to try to think about the political commentary. Again, this is a place where maybe students' comments can be helpful if you're having trouble thinking about this. But again, as we talked about last week, a film like Dallas Buyers Club is very much kind of about the AIDS epidemic and about corporations trying to profit off of people who are dying of this disease that again in the 80s they didn't know very much about. So maybe the political commentary is a little bit easier to see in a movie like Dallas Buyers Club, But I bet there's something political going on in the movie that you're reviewing, whatever it is, even if it's a romantic comedy. Um, I'd also like you to try to evaluate, say something about the acting. What are the performances that kind of stand out to you in this film? Who are the actors? Who are the actresses? And and then maybe another claim about the directing and the writing. And for each of these, try to point to specific moments in the film to supply evidence for your claim. Like if the directing is really strong in one scene, like what does that mean? Is that about how the camera is kind of focusing our attention on something as the music swells and or is it about the juxtaposition of one scene with another? Again, I wish we had more time to kind of talk about how to write about film, um, which is what I usually like to do with this assignment. But just see if you can kind of identify how you want to lay out this review before you write it. And then the review, of course, will be due next week. I hope to kind of give you some comments on your outlines here and on your summaries to point you in the right direction for next week. And I hope you can take that feedback and turn it into a strong review. The other two things, there are two quizzes this week. I don't think these should give you very much trouble, but there's one on comma usage and one on numbers. Please use section P11 and section P1A in your little Seagull handbook if you need help with those. But please also make sure you post those by Friday. The other kind of end of semester announcements I have this week, I just want to remind everybody that technically the last day of the semester is Monday, April 27th, which is coming up. But I also want to say this is going to be the Monday, April 27th is also going to be the last day to submit any missing or late work that you might owe me. So if you haven't turned in an essay, if you're missing some study guides, if you're missing some discussion posts, again, I'm trying to be lenient with I'm trying not to deduct points right now for anybody who is like late with this stuff, because I know that people's lives have been upturned as a result of the coronavirus. But at the same time, I still have a deadline that I have to meet for submitting grades, and I'm also going to be busy after April 27th, sort of grading final exams in my other classes and in your class. So I just want you to be aware that if you owe me any work, I'm going to need you to try to get it in by April 27th. I'm also going to try to update your grades on Blackboard so that you have a clear sense of kind of where you are with your assignments and what your grade looks like right now. So I will do that hopefully early this week. To remind you, the film review is worth 10% of your final grade, and the final exam is also worth 10% of your final grade. So if you've turned in all your work up to the film review by this week, you should have a clear sense of kind of where you are in the class right now. And the other thing I want to point out is that I did post the final exam. Please be aware, mark your calendars, that it's going to be due Wednesday, the 29th at 4 p.m., which is, at least for one section of English 1202, that was when our final exam was scheduled for. And to just show you how you can access it, if you go back to course content, you can do one of two things. You can either open up essay assignments folder and scroll to the bottom. This link was kind of empty before, but it now works. If you click on that, that'll take you right to the assignment. Or you can go to the course content page, scroll all the way down to week 14, open week 14, and this is the assignment. I will go over this at a future date next week to kind of remind you of what. Well, I guess I could just go over it now. So basically, I'm asking you to write a paragraph in response to each one of these questions. This is just reflective, thinking about who were you as a writer at the beginning of the semester? What was your reading and writing process like? Which writing assignment this semester did you feel was the easiest? What writing skill did you practice on that assignment? Which writing assignment this semester did you find to be the most difficult? Why? What writing skill did you practice on that assignment? Who are you now as a writer? So sort of thinking about like where you've kind of come from this semester and also where you're going, right? So where are you now as a writer? What writing skills and habits have you developed over the course of this semester? And finally, how do you expect you will use writing in your professional life or career from here? Um, I'm particularly interested in this question if anybody, those of you thinking about going into the health science field or medicine in any capacity, I'd be interested to know if any of the readings this semester kind of grabbed your attention or spoke to you in some way for that question. So for this, I do want you to take your time with it, but again, it's not like you have to do research for this. This is just kind of a reflective essay, and I'm asking for it to be 2 to 3 pages long, so it doesn't need to be a book. But I will be looking at grammar. I'll be looking that you kind of substantiate the claims that you make by giving concrete examples from the semester. So, like, don't just tell me that you had a hard time with one of the assignments. Like, explain why, like, specifically what was difficult about it. And also depth. For this, I know it can kind of seem like this is just some kind of like throwaway assignment here, but I want you to be honest here. Like, if you honestly don't think that you got much out of this class, tell me that. I'm not going to grade you based on what you actually say. I'm just grading you on whether or not you're doing this assignment. So in other words, don't just write what you think I want to hear. And please provide a detailed explanation to respond to each question. So again, this will be due by 4 o'clock on Wednesday, April 29th. So if you want to go ahead and mark your calendar now, that might be a good idea. But yeah, you're welcome to complete this at any time between now and April 29th. All right. I hope everybody has a good week. I hope you're all doing well, and I will check in next week when the film review is due. Until then, I hope you guys take it easy. Take care of yourselves. All right.